House Democrats are fighting to get a hold of 6 years worth of Donald Trump's tax returns, and apparently they have the right to do it. So to give you some more details, the Ways and Means Committee Chairman Richard Neal sent a letter Wednesday, that was yesterday, to IRS Commissioner Charles Rettig, requesting 6 years of Trump's personal and business tax returns from 2013 to 2018 by April 10th. So it's a very specific request.
Booyakasha.
Yes.
Tick, 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 tick. I'm back.
And there were specific reasons listed in this letter, and I want to give, I'm back, that I want to give you. So Neal requested returns from the 5 business entities that constitute the core of the president's businesses, as well as the returns for entities associated with Trump's golf course in Bedminster, New Jersey, that has been the subject of press reports about tax compliance. Now, Republicans will argue that this is just a political stunt, that they're just going after Trump based on politics, but Democrats have actually done a decent job in laying the groundwork for this request. So they can easily challenge those accusations by saying, well, Trump's own personal lawyer testified that he would inflate his assets when he was seeking loans and then deflate his assets when it came to his taxes. So there could have been tax fraud involved. Also, I want to read you a little bit from Representative Neal's letter. He says the IRS has a policy of auditing the tax returns of all sitting presidents and vice presidents, yet little is known about the effectiveness of this program. On behalf of the American people, the Ways and Means Committee must determine if that policy is being followed, and if so, whether these audits are conducted fully and appropriately. So he essentially wants to audit the auditors, which I think is interesting.
Yeah, so Congress has a lot of investigative power, like prosecutors do. And so they can subpoena people and documents, and in this case, they can ask other parts of the government for information, which makes a lot of sense. So look, could it be used for political purposes? I can see how that could happen, but in this case, remember, Trump's the only one that has not given his tax returns all the way back to Gerald Ford, only president. And he keeps saying he's under audit. That's totally irrelevant. The IRS has said you can show your tax returns even if you're under audit. There's no such law. He keeps repeating it. He repeated it again today. So look, what have we at the Young Turks been most concerned about throughout, which is financial crimes. And look, if you say there are financial crimes in his past in the 80s and the 90s that are unrelated to anything he's doing as president, and you should let that go, I think there's an interesting argument there. But what we're worried about is, does it relate to the things that he's doing in office? So are there business interests or financial crimes that he has committed that do directly affect what he's doing as president of the United States? That's the thing I'm most concerned about.
Right, because if he has a conflict of interest, a financial conflict of interest, especially when it comes to his businesses and the involvement of foreign governments, well then is he looking out for his best interests as opposed to the best interests of the American people? Now, in response to this subpoena, Donald Trump used the same old excuse. Take a look at that.
The chairman of the Democratic House Ways and Means Committee moments ago asked the IRS for 6 years of your tax returns.
Is that all?
That's all.
Oh, usually it's 10, so I guess they're giving up. Now, we're under audit, despite what people said, and we're working that out, as I'm always under audit, it seems, but I've been under audit for many years because the numbers are big, and I guess when you have a name, you're audited. But until such time as I'm not under audit, I would not be inclined to do that. Thank you.
So Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez responded to that with the following: Congress, we're gonna need a copy of the president's tax returns from 2013 to 2018. 45, no, I'm under audit. Congress, we didn't ask you.
Damn, that happened. Fire.
Sass.
Okay.
Love it.
So here's the ultimate situation. Treasury Secretary is supposed to turn it over. There's no ands, ifs, or buts about it. The law is exceedingly clear. Everyone concedes that it's exceedingly clear, but the administration likely will not turn it over. And they'll go, yeah, all right, well, we'll go to the courts and we'll try to stretch it out for 2 years. So even though we're obviously wrong, we'll try to gum up the works here so that you don't get it before the elections. because we don't want you to see his tax returns before the 2020 elections. So how fast will the court system go? Now, there is some chance that Mnuchin goes, look, we have no leg to stand on. The law is completely clear. I don't even know what case we would make. What, that asking for his tax returns causes cancer? Right? Yeah. I don't know, but it's so.
And it's not far-fetched that Mnuchin would come to that conclusion, because there are people on the right who look at this and they say, yeah, I mean, Congress has a right to subpoena the tax returns. One of those right-wingers is Judge Napolitano. Take a look.
And I understand the president's argument that he's under audit, and an audit is private. So if he's under audit, he knows it, and the people doing the audit know it. The public doesn't know it. That would not be a defense. I'm sure this is going to end up in the court because this Mnuchin is not going to release it voluntarily, even though the statute says he must.
Why would they do this?
See, two things there. One is audit's no defense, and the statute says Mnuchin must turn it over to Congress. So I don't know if there's going to be any consequences for him not turning it over. We'll see. Maybe he does. But if he does, I'll tell you this: Trump is going to blow his lid. And then he's going to talk about how Mnuchin betrayed him and he's got to go, etc. Because he believes that his cabinet officials are not here to serve the American people. They're here to serve him and his personal interest. And nothing is more important to Donald Trump than protecting his taxes and his financial records, because that's where the bodies are buried. So, look, we talked about a lot about this in the context of the collusion report, Mueller report, etc. And our contention all along has been that the election is a small part of potentially of the collusion, if any. But his financial dealings with the Russians for a long time, well, that could be why he wanted to do obstruction of justice and stop the investigation in the first place. That could be why he appears to be very lenient towards Russia. I know there's some disagreement over that, but we think that it's fairly clear that he is. And if it turns out you look into his taxes and no, there's nothing untoward with Russia, then I'd say, oh, okay, good. Well, then we have peace of mind. We at least know if the president is working for a different country. And by the way, it might not be Russia. It might be the Saudis that he's got to deal with. But like I said, all that information is in the taxes. That's why Trump is most desperate to make sure that those never see the light of day. And we all should be confident that our president is working for us and not someone else. And the way you're going to know is through the taxes.
One other thing that was brought up was his contributions to charity. So he is being investigated for using his own charitable foundation to enrich himself. And I don't know if his taxes have any additional information on that, but that's one of the other issues that has been brought up in this story.
Yeah, so there's two possibilities here. One is crimes he might have committed. But look, if he's right, then he didn't do anything wrong, and the taxes will also show that. The other one that's more dangerous and more important is crimes he might have committed or deals he might have done that now affect his decisions as president. And that is why they should definitely get them. And let's also note that there's a pattern here. Trump says that he's incredibly smart, but never wants anyone to see his grades. He says that he's mentally stable, but doesn't want anyone to see his medical files. He says that he hasn't committed any financial crimes, but he doesn't want anybody to see his taxes. He says that Mueller report is a complete and total exoneration, but doesn't want anyone to see the Mueller report. You see the pattern here? The pattern is he's hiding a lot of things and he doesn't want you to see it. And there's an excellent reason why, because he's not very smart. He's clearly not mentally stable. It is not a complete exoneration, and those taxes are going to show you things even more devastating than his grades or his medical files. Two easy ways to follow the Young Turks. One is hit the subscribe button down below, then you're a TYT subscriber. And second is ring the bell. And when you do that on YouTube, you're notified of our videos.